Hi there. So today we are going to be talking about one of my husband and my very favorite topics to talk about, and that is the cost of living here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we are going to get started right now. Mariah Curley here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your very first time here. This channel is literally everything you need to know about eating, working, playing, sleeping, and living in the Salt Lake City, Utah area. If that is of interest to you, consider subscribing down below so you don't miss our weekly videos. We hear from people like you all the time who are relocating or looking to make a move here to Utah, and we absolutely love it. So if you are thinking about making a move today, tomorrow, 3 months, 9 months from now, please feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and it would be our absolute pleasure to connect with you. Okay, so I know you are thinking, why in the world is your husband and your favorite topic to talk about cost of living? Well, good question. So let me go down a little story and then we're gonna hop right into cost of living here in Salt Lake City, Utah. So being married to a certified public accountant, we love numbers. We talk numbers all the time, and both of us grew up in Northern California, and California is pretty much a lot of what we knew and what we were comfortable with. Well, over the years, and after our family and I, we moved our family to Utah, we started crunching a lot more numbers, and we started realizing that the cost of living here in Salt Lake City, Utah is very different. I mean, very different than what we were used to in California. So of course, my husband and I have kind of geeked out on looking at a lot of numbers, and I actually wrote down a lot of different numbers for you today. So just to give you a sense of what house prices are like, what gas and utilities are like, what your electric bill is like, what you can expect if your kids are playing sports, and what maybe some of those fees might be like. If you're interested in a country club, maybe what some of those fees would be like. So just to give you kind of a snapshot of what it's like, how much it costs to live here, let's just jump right into housing first and foremost. If you are in Salt Lake City, Utah, if you're in Salt Lake County, if you are in Utah County, if you are over in the Park City area, like in the Summit County area, the cost of living and the price of the houses will vary. But in Utah County, Salt Lake City, Utah area, the average median price right now is going to be about $600,000. There, yes, are a lot higher, a lot lower, but that is the median price right now in 2022. With that being said, with housing prices, now I took a deep dive and really looked at our utilities for my personal residence, for my primary residence, of water, gas, sewer, trash, all of that. So I'm going to throw out some numbers for you just so that you can get an idea of the kind of numbers that we're paying here in Utah. Right, so I wrote some numbers down just so that I can give you guys a good idea of the kind of bills that we're paying here. And again, I just have it to compare to what we were paying in California, and a lot of our bills and utilities and everything is significantly lower here in Salt Lake City, Utah. So first of all, we talked about the housing. Like I said, housing can vary, but average, median price right now is $600,000. If you are looking at, let's talk about water, trash, sewer, those type of bills. Our average is about $180 a month for all of those different things combined. And with that being said, the way some of these things are broken down, let me give you some numbers. I have them right here. So, for our garbage is $11 a month, but if you want an extra garbage can, that's going to be $7 extra. If you want a recycling can, that's going to be another $7. So depending on how many garbage cans you want and all of that, it can add up. So ours ends up being about $30 a month for the trash. Next one, we've got your base water. Now this was interesting coming from California. Here in Utah, most of the places around have two different types of water. So you've got the culinary water. Culinary water is going to be your drinking water, the water you shower and bathe in. That's the water that you are primarily going to use inside of your house. So you've got the culinary water inside, but you've got what they call here irrigation water for the outside. So irrigation water is going to be the water that you water your plants with, you know, your sprinkler system, your lawn, all of that is going to be on an irrigation, or they call it like a pressurized irrigation system outside. So two different watering, two different types of water. One, the irrigation water is not nearly as clean as the culinary water, and you don't want to drink that irrigation water that's outside because it's a recycled type of water, but perfect for your plants, perfect for your garden, perfect for the lawn, but certainly not perfect for inside your house. So those are two different things. One thing that I thought was interesting too with our water is our pressurized irrigation water is $58 for the month. So $58 for the month, you can water pretty much, I don't want to say you can water as much as you want, but you can water enough to keep your grass green and healthy and looking great. Same thing with your garden. So with our trash, with our sewer, with the water, we're paying, like I said, about $180 a month for all of those utilities and that type of bill for that. The other thing that's kind of interesting talking about watering, now here in Utah, what they do with the irrigation water outside of your house is they end up turning off the water in the month of October. And in the month of October, sometime it's usually around October 15th is when they shut it off so that, the pipes and all of that don't freeze, because it starts getting colder around that month of October. So they will shut the water off and they'll keep it off for that irrigation water for about 6 months of the year. So it goes off around October and then they will turn it back on sometime around usually the middle of April. So you continue to pay, the water and all of that, and they just have it on pretty much a flat rate throughout the year, even though you're not using it for parts of the year. But that's how they do it here in Utah, which for us, we were like, oh my gosh, we're paying way less to water all of our lawn and our yard and our garden and all of that compared to what we were paying in California. And in California, we had an itty bitty tiny little postage stamp of a yard that, you could mow it in 2 minutes, and we paid more to water that than we do quite a bit more space here in Utah. So that's the thing with watering. Number 2, let's talk about gas and electric. Now, gas and electric, I want to give you some of these numbers that I've got here. For gas, here we use Dominion Energy gas, and the furnace is gas, and for this, it's more expensive in the wintertime, because in the wintertime, we're using our furnace. We're using the gas to heat the house and to do that. And for ours, and this is what's kind of interesting. So in the month of June, our gas bill was $39, but in the month of February, it was around $200. So the gas bill in the wintertime is much higher than it is obviously in the summertime. But then our electric bill in the summer is much more than it is in the wintertime, because electric, we are using our air conditioning, and the air conditioning is on most of the summer. So our air conditioning bills in the month of June was $129. In July, it was $162. And August was about $250. So if you average out our gas and our electric bill together, we're looking at around, depending on the month, we're looking at about $100 to $250 a month, depending on the month and depending on the usage of what you're doing for that. So that's something to be aware of and to consider, that depending on the month, you're either going to pay more in gas or you'll pay more in electric, whether you're using your furnace or whether you are using your AC unit. So something else to consider. All right, so moving right on to internet and cable. Internet and cable, we have a high-speed internet, high-speed cable, all of that. It is honestly for us, it was pretty standard of what we were paying in California. Yes, it's a little bit cheaper here. We're paying around $100 a month for the high-speed internet. Again, lots of different companies you can use, but on average, that's what we're paying. Let's talk a little bit about the price of gas for your car. Now, when we moved here 2 years ago, we could not believe the price of gas. Obviously, after COVID and all of that, gas prices and fuel prices have skyrocketed and have, gotten so much higher. When we first moved here, it was $1.99 a gallon. We thought we just hit the lottery. Now here we are, it is August of 2022. And it is now $4.75. But just to give you kind of an idea, we were back in California last month and it was about $6 a gallon for gas there. So typically here in Salt Lake City, Utah, you're gonna be about 20% cheaper than California. But again, that's, just comparing it to California. But it is going to be less expensive than some of the surrounding states as well. The next thing that's super important to talk about when we're talking about the cost of living here in Salt Lake City, Utah, is definitely going to be property taxes. Now, property taxes on your home are going to be right around 1% of the purchase price. And when we're talking about 1% of the purchase price, so for example, if you have a $500,000 home, your property taxes will be $5,000 on the home, unless it is your primary residence. So if it is your primary residence that you are living in, they will give you a 50% discount per year. So again, if it is your primary residence that you just bought a house that's $500,000, for easy math, you are paying $5,000, but if it's your primary residence, then you would be paying $2,500. Same thing, if you do the math, you've got $1 million, you purchase it, and your property taxes are assessed at $1 million, and so it would be $10,000 for your property taxes. You would be paying $5,000 if it is your primary residence. So that's kind of a nice bonus here in the state of Utah too. I know we've had lots of people that have moved from out of state here too, and they're like, wait, property taxes and, is 1% of the assessed value of that house. And then along with that, if it is your primary residence, just like I mentioned, you will get 50% off of that as well. So something to keep in mind. Moving right on to continuing about taxes, my husband's favorite subject. Let's talk a little bit about state taxes as well. State income tax is also another important thing to talk about when we're talking about the cost of living here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Now, here in Utah, the state income tax is 4.85%, and this is a flat tax. So if you make $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, whatever, or if you make $25,000, $50,000, you will pay the same amount, 4.85%. Whereas in some of the surrounding states around us, they'll have like a progressive tax rate. So depending on how much you make, if you make more, you will end up paying more tax. If you make less, then you will, pay less as well. So it just, that depends. But here in Utah, so let's just take a number, pretend you make $200,000, you are paying 4.85% on that. And then, if you were making that in California, you would probably be the tax rate would be somewhere probably around 8%. So almost 50% higher, you'd be paying more there than you would here in Utah. So, and then the next thing is sales tax. Again, sales tax, that is going to vary just depending on which county you are in, but right around 7 to 8% is what you're going to see for the sales tax. So something else to keep in mind. Talking about cost of living, next up, something that is very near and dear to my heart because I have 4 kids and I love having my kids super active and involved in a ton of different activities. So when we moved here from California to Utah, I wanted to make sure that the kids could still do all the activities that they were doing back in California, and then maybe even some other ones too. And we found out very quickly that they pretty much any activity they wanted to do, we realized, oh, you can pick any single activity you want to do right now and it'll still be cheaper than what we were paying in California. So when we moved here, first of all, we had our 2 twins and our twins were 5 at the time. We signed them up for recreational soccer. If you sign them up early, and the way they do the rec soccer here in Utah is they do a fall season and then they take a couple months off and then they do a spring season. And for at least Utah County area, you are going to be on the same team and you'll use the same uniform and all of that. But to sign my 2 kids up, it was $100. If you got in early, they give you like an extra $5 or $10 off. If you have a sibling, they give you another extra $5 or $10 off as well. So to sign the 2 kids up, it was like $90 for, 8 to 10 games in the fall, 8 to 10 games in the spring. So for about $90 a kid for that. So that was awesome. And then my other kids decided to go the route of club soccer. And with club soccer, over the years, it's gotten a little bit more pricey, but for team fees and just like registration to be in the club, part of that was right around $1,500. That did not include tournament fees or any of that. So, and it really depends on what club you're playing for too. There are some that are going to be a little bit more than $1,500, and there are going to be some that are less than that too. And then something else to be aware of with like soccer is that, the recreational leagues also, they have like kind of a club version too of the, kind of club soccer, but you're going to pay almost, you're going to pay almost recreational fees for that, which is a very, very nice option for a lot of people. Also, when we moved here, my kids were interested in like doing piano lessons and music lessons, guitar lessons, those type of things. So we were able to sign our kids up, and it was about $100 a month per kid for private piano lessons or private guitar lessons. Those lessons were anywhere from about 30 to 45 minutes a lesson once a week, to give you kind of an idea. Same thing if you're looking at like tennis lessons, depending on, again, where you're at. But my kids got into tennis and pickleball. They have some really cool pickleball clubs around here. Club Pickleball USA is a really neat one, and that's in Orem. They also have it in, I believe, Sandy, in right in the Salt Lake City, Utah area as well. And you can sign your kids up for a month long. They usually do it month by month, but it's about $50 a month, $50 to $75 a kid per month to have them involved in pickleball. I did the same thing for tennis. Each of my kids were able to sign up for tennis lessons. It was about $60 a month for tennis lessons. Kind of going along with that, swim lessons. Every summer I sign my kids up for swim lessons. That's around $50 or $60 a kid, depending on where you go, but usually they do it for about 2 weeks, and it's a half hour for each lesson. These ones are group lessons, and you get about 8 lessons for the $50 or $60. So for me, that was awesome. And then my son, when we moved here, he had been playing flag football back in San Diego and was like, oh, Mom, I really want to try that again. And I remember we were paying $250 for one flag football season. That didn't include the jersey or any of that. Here, I signed him up. When we first got here, it was $45 to sign him up for the season. They do an $8 reversible jersey that you can do. It's now, because he's moved up in grades, it's now $55 for the season, but again, a fraction of the price compared to some of these other places. I know I have had clients and people that have moved in that are interested in country clubs and golf memberships. Again, depending on where you're at, is really going to depend on how much those are. Kind of where we're at, right outside of Salt Lake City, there are several different country clubs, and the golf memberships, again, it will vary. Some are $8,000, some are $10,000 a year, some are a little more, some are a little less. Again, it really just depends on what community, what club you're going to be in. But also, speaking about communities and clubs, one thing here in Utah that are starting to be a little bit more popular, but they don't have as many as some of the surrounding states, but neighborhoods with community pools and homeowners associations. In San Diego, it was chock full. That's all it was. It didn't seem like you could get in a neighborhood that didn't have a homeowners association. Well, here in Utah, for example, in the Lehigh area in Traverse Mountain, there is a community there, and you pay about $100. Actually, I think it's only $85 a month. But again, it depends, but you have access to the clubhouse, access to the pool, access to a bunch of different things. There's a couple other different communities. In Highlands Sky Estates is one, same thing. It's right around $100 a month. You've got access to the pool and the clubhouse and those different things as well. Same thing in Draper. There's different communities there. The homeowners associations in Salt Lake and then in Utah County are going to be much less than if you are in Summit County near Park City and the Heber Valley over there. A lot of those homeowners associations, and depending on where you're at, and depending if you have a lifestyle membership or if you have a golf membership, if you're in Red Ledges, if you're in the, Tuahey or Promontory and some of these other different communities and neighborhoods over there, it really just depends. So if you are thinking about making a move here to Utah, or you're thinking about just, wait a minute, I want an idea of like a neighborhood or some numbers or whatever it is, please feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. And if you tell me a couple of different things that you're really looking for specifically, hey, I really want to live right on a golf course. Oh, I really want to make sure I'm in an area that has a bunch of hiking trails. Oh, I really am looking for a fabulous school district for my kids. Whatever it is, you tell me some of those things that you are looking for in an area, in a neighborhood, and we can pinpoint you to what you are looking for. So I hope you found this helpful and kind of give you an idea of some numbers here in Utah and the cost of living. And again, if you are thinking about making a move or relocating, please feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. Take care.